Hello, everyone. Joseph with the Healing Market here. Kenneth and Ethan will join us momentarily. I wanted to start the broadcast regardless because we're committed to a time. And in these few moments we have, I'd like to show you a couple of our links. And then if we have some more time, we'll do some listening to Ethan and we'll talk about that. So the first thing I wanted to show you is the website for the Healing Market. It's healingmarket.org. Find a healer, psychic, or coach. We're running a 14-day immune detox program right now. And when you go to the What's Happening section, you get the latest of our published work. There's a lot of Ethium happening right now. That's the blog section. You can see here. Below that, we have the market section, which are the offerings. Ask me anything with myself. You can get a blessing from the Rebbe. You can join a detox. You can listen to IBD and Crohn's. You can get energy clearing, oracle card readings, all kinds of good things. And if you or someone you know that would like to be a guest on our YouTube, you click here. And we do interviews with interesting people that have to do along the lines of healing and natural healings. So some ideas of the interviews we made before you can apply here. Also, if you're a practitioner and you're looking to work with the healing market and present your wares on the healing market, you can put the application here in a registration, and I'll receive it and I'll review it. You could also look at the ambassador program and look at our healers and teachers here. You can look at the courses we have available here. And this is the blog where you'll find all the latest entries. Some are from here. And there's all the Ethium entries will be here under the channeling category or the Ethium tag. So when you click on one of these, and I'll show you here, they're all organized and there's a lot of information. Some are interviews, like with Renee Pelletier from the Survival Chicks, or Laurel at Sedona. Okay, and there's a lot of Ethium happening, and this is Oren from the immune course. Okay, so this is the one we did last, and what you'll see here, I'm loading that page, and this is the video here. And here you'll get summary. These are AI summaries, but I do review them. The traditional importance of self-love, practicing kindness, embracing unconditional love for oneself and others. Also delves into the concept of energetic shifts, timeline, and higher consciousness. And there's a lot more. When Ethium starts, you can go anywhere. And there's some more summaries here. And then if you click on these timestamps, you'll get to that point in the video where he talks about one of these things. Okay. If you want to find us on Facebook, facebook.com/healingmarket.org. Okay, so that's here, and this will start as if I reload this page, I believe the video will show. This is another Facebook House of Dust. That's a page that's from our Burning Man days, but that's happening. So we're also publishing to the House of Dust. So you're welcome to follow us on the House of Dust page. And this is Kenneth YouTube channel called Ideas in the Flow. Ideas in the Flow. You can go here and you can follow us on Kenneth channel as well. So here I am talking and seeing myself on Kenneth's channel live. Okay. This is here. This is the Facebook for tonight. This is the Facebook for House of Dust. House of Dust Burns. This is the Facebook for the Healing Market. Okay. And this is the website for the Healing Market. I'll reload it here so you can see again. So what we're going to do now, until Kenneth and Ethan arrive, is I'd like to review. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer if there's anything. And in the meantime, I'd like to review some Ethium videos, and we can watch a little bit of Ethium together and have some comments on it. I'll check Let me check the tab here. Okay. What I'll do is I'm going to let Ethan run. And I'll check on the side here.
Good day to you and all
Good day,
that are
Ethan.
watching this transmission. We come to you on what you refer to as the Day of Love and the celebration of this particular time, space, and frequency that you are. It is a day of celebration in that way, where you are joining with another person to celebrate your frequency and your vibration that comes into your space to be able to connect with who and what you are, knowing that you are, as a being, made of pure love and joy and excitement. You are an ecstatic expression of all that is from the point of view that we see you. This is how we share our love with you, by showing up enthusiastically and immensely in such a way that you will know we love you from the bottom of our hearts in that way.
Thank you, Ethan. This
Today,
is lovely.
immensely in such a way that we
Ethan, for
are
this.
sharing our vibration in this way to celebrate this occasion that you know as Valentine's Day. Understand that the original purpose and original celebration, the event that caused it, was not the most joyous one. But understand in this day and time that the vibration has been transformed to reflect the understanding of love.
Thank you. Ethan, for our new viewers, who are you and where are you, please?
I am an extraterrestrial. I am in my ship. I am what you would refer to as the channel's future incarnation, chronologically, from what you would perceive as time. I am not human, not even close in the way I look. I am what you would deem an extraterrestrial in my appearance, but I do have human genetics that have been passed down to me via my family line, my world, my people.
Thank you. Ethan, where is your ship now?
I'm still located roughly above your North Pole.
So what's happening here is Ethan confirming that he's non-human and he's in a ship above the North Pole. In previous transmissions, Ethan told us that he used to be far from Earth, and slowly but surely he's coming closer and closer to Earth. And last time we've heard from him, not the last transmission, but the last time we heard about his location, he was still in the same location, but he descended to about 500 feet above the Earth. That was maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago. That's when we lost the channel, the contact twice, and my speaker blew. And that really happened.
Magnetically, I am helping to balance the polarity of the Earth and the energy coming into the Earth.
How are you doing that?
Our technology is quite more advanced than you can understand. Simply put, we are able to balance with our technology in our ships and our persons, because we are operating at such a level. We are able to operate and pump energy into different vortexes and vortices around your planet to keep them balanced.
Thank you very much. Here, Ethan talks about the poles, and I ask him about the pole shift. Now, there's a lot of word about the pole shift, whether it's from the scientific community or from the ethereal community like us. And yesterday, I heard Pamela Arlen, which I think we've mentioned before, and she channeled someone, and he said that the pole shift was not as fast as we thought it's going to be. But it did cause some issues that were corrected. That was in Pamela Arlen's channel. Now here Ethium says that he basically confirmed this, and he says that the poles do shift, and he did tell us before that various instruments or devices, plugins, I guess, or maybe GPS, will go out of commission. I've noticed that speaking of love today and Valentine's Day, February 14th,
Yes.
2024, I've noticed that more people are what we call single. They don't have a special someone. And I've noticed that their love is turning inside, inwards, towards themselves. Do you sense that?
Yes. This is part of the evolution that you are going through societally. Instead of forcing the energy out into the world beyond just yourself and not actually loving who you are, at this time, the reflection of learning to love yourself en masse for the population of your planet.
Thank you. The key here by Ethium is that by loving yourself, by appreciating yourself, by overcoming the programming of I'm not worthy or deprogramming your own worthiness, same thing from the other perspective, by removing these conditions, we are freeing ourselves and we're opening ourselves to all that we are. What will happen to society when people love themselves?
You will see a mass evolution of an understanding that the way you have been treated for many years will transform. For when everyone acts from a place of self love instead of a place of self loathing, many of the wars, many of the self doubts, many of the destructive nature that you have seen, because you are coming from a place of love and self love, you will no longer experience the idea of loathing, hatred for oneself and who for what you are.
So you cannot have love and hate at the same time. It's either or. You either open yourself up or close and be angry. All the loathing, all the hate, all the anger is I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, whatever it is. If you can find the way to love yourself, which means to forgive yourself, to have compassion towards yourself, then you can be then you can open up and be able to accept the light, what comes for you and who you really are, the greater part of you, the part that connects to all there is, to all these layers that Ethan told us about recently. If you guys have any questions regarding this material, please type them in the comment section. Thank you. And I
This is
guess
part of your shadow work. This, as a culture, is things that have been in the shadow for many years. So, at this time, in this space, at this synchronicity, this is the lesson en masse that you are working through.
right. Lesson en masse. Yeah. What would it take for us to see meaningful changes in our society so we can see that love energy permeates?
It's a case by case basis. It's not one person, it is on mass. It is the idea of a critical mass. Your energy, your personal vibration, your frequency shifts you to realities that are more and more reflective of everyone being in love with their soulmate, themselves. You will see en masse more people having relationships with healthy boundaries and having the ability to live from a state of pure existential internal love. Your society will transform and raise its frequency quite rapidly when it reaches an energetic critical mass.
Critical mass is the point here. I'm going to put in the comment section Kenneth's. Yeah, so I'm going to put in the section down here Kenneth's YouTube. It's called Idea in the Flow, and if you can hear, it'll be there. The other way is to check if your speakers are up, or maybe you're muted of some sort. So there it is. Here's Ethium speaks of critical mass, and critical mass means there has to be a domino effect. There's enough people feeling it, doing it, being it, shifted to the next level, to the next vibration. Then there are enough of us to trigger that domino effect for everyone else. And it was spoken of before that about 10% of the population would be required in order to make that domino effect, to awaken the mass. There'll probably be some resistors, but the mass needs about 10% to give them that. But we're not at the 10% yet. Thank you. Speaking of energetic critical mass, I hear on other channels being channeled.
Yes.
There is an event coming, and as far as I understand, the event will be a solar flare.
Yes.
Does that have to do anything with the pole shift as well? Are these two connected?
Yes, it is part of that process. But you are going through the idea of solar flares all the time. There are the ideas of storms. Yes?
Yes.
You have them on your planet. There
Correct.
are also the ideas of solar storms. There are system-wide storms that emanate from your star, Sol.
Mm-hmm.
It is alive. It does have feelings. It is the collective understanding and knowing, and it preserves all of the happenings going on, the collective consciousness of your star system.
The sun.
Yes.
Right.
On a higher level, it appears different to us.
Right. The sun is the key word here, because the sun is the logos. The sun contains consciousness of what's around it. And the consciousness in the universe, as far as we understanding, is made of various sizes, groups. Could be the planet, could be the star system, then the sun will be the core of that consciousness, then be maybe a neighborhood of stars, then be a galaxy, then be some galaxies, and so on and so forth. I don't see any questions here. Can everyone hear? I can hear on the other computer. Okay, let's continue. I remember listening to some of the raw material.
Yes.
And raw called the sun logos and sublogos, I believe.
Yes. It is representational of your collective consciousness as a whole system. So that includes the entire system. There are many things that have happened in this star system for millions of years that you do not know about yet.
Right.
But it will happen.
Here, Ethium speaks of the past, and then it says it will happen. And I noticed that when he said it, basically, the way I understand it is it's in our future, but it's in his past because he can access all these timelines. So he can access that possibility that we're going towards. The sun, Ethem says, is the logos. Logos is the logic, is the concept, is the idea, is the consciousness of the entire system, the star system, the 9 or 10 planets evolving the sun, or maybe more if there are.
It will be there before you know it. This time period that you are moving through that seems very challenging, that you have been moving through for the last 10 of your years, 12, 13.
Yep.
Because in the next year, you will be moving to the idea of 13, the idea of transformation, the idea of moving to the next stage.
Ethem says 13, but he never actually mentions what about that 13, and then it keeps going. But you could probably guess 13. The original months, if months are, there could be the 13 months, like in the Hebrew calendar. There's 13 months every 4 years. The number 13 for maturity, and so on and so forth. And of course, the number 13 was appropriated and tried to reversed with Friday the 13th and bad luck. No. It's becoming. 13 is of becoming.
Of your collective evolution.
Thank you. And the next stage is the hybrids?
No, that is still many years down the road for that to fully integrate into your society. You will have energetically moved past many of the hurdles that you have held on to for thousands of years. As we read it right now, you are and have reached the point of the beginning of window of open contact. Energetically, you will be leaving many things behind that have separated you, that have caused strife and even death in your societies.
Thank you, Ethan. When you say open contact, what form of contact would that be?
You are having open contact right now, in a way. But
okay. Every time I ask Ethan, yo, when are we gonna see you and you guys? And he goes, it's right now. We're talking right now.
You will have a more physicalized version with beings that are part of our alliance.
So that's another key. And there was a question there about the physicality. If Ethem was like quasi-physical form, or possibly draw a ship, that would be awesome. So quasi-physical, we can't really imagine it because we don't really know what it is fully. But I can imagine, like the video kind of comes in and out. Like you see it, you don't see it. It's like it's a little bit here, but it's also somewhere else. Ethan also said about his ship that when you walk into the ship, it's a lot larger on the inside than what it looks from the outside. So if you draw the ship, yeah, if you drew the ship, okay, maybe you get a little saucer. Like, does it really matter what it looks like? Where really it's some sort of biochemical technology that integrates with Ethan's consciousness. Therefore, he can go around. By the way we understand it, he says that the location of an object is encapsulated with the object. So you'll say, this is a pen, it's black, it's a felt tip, and then you'll say what the pen is located. It's part of the pen. It's not there is a pen in the room, the pen is here in this coordinate. And the room also happens to be in this coordinate right now. And so is my block of paper and so on. Okay. So it's and basically when he focuses on where he wants to be or the object or where the ship needs to be, it also has the location built in. Okay. Ethan looks like a perfect mix between a gray and human. We haven't seen him for real. Let's keep watching here. Hold on.
You will see more things. There will be less cloaking. There will be less hidden things. You will see a acceleration in the number of extraterrestrial sightings in even daylight.
Mm-hmm.
It will be more obvious because you will have reached an energetic critical mass where you can move to that stage where you can start perceiving things more openly and honestly. Because you will have, as a collective, moved past the things that were in third density to fully start embracing fourth density.
I understand. Thank you. One of the channels I listened to spoke of the event, and this event will trigger a mass awakening that will take per individual a few days, and that awakening will be a state of joy and happiness and acceptance. Um, is it going to be like that, or is it going to be more of like an individualized understanding?
An internal, individualized understanding. You will start to see more things inside of your civilization and inside your individual cultures start to move in a more positive direction because you are no longer being caused or held back by the things that used to be there. Think about it as a society, all the strife that you have moved through in the last 12 years,
Uh-huh.
the embarkation point that you reached December 21st, 2012, you've reached 2024. You have gone through the years of transition and pain and strife. These are the ideas of the personal hells that you are leaving behind. For those that have done the work and have been able to actually accelerate themselves, it's an internal knowing, it's an internal way of being. Much in the way that the channel was activated, this is part of the process. It has reached the point in time where it was necessary for us to become active to help with the acceleration of the process of open contact.
So this is interesting because here Ethan basically said that they made some kind of interference. Now, as far as I know, and you probably heard, there's kind of a no interference rule, but I guess there are some times where you can interfere. So even by showing themselves a little bit or connecting with us, even if it's a small channel, yet that's contact according to them. That's starting to show themselves, putting more of them in here, starting to cause some chain reaction, some effect. So, good, thank you. I see what you mean, moving in a certain direction, and how each step must happen before the next step can. For example, we spoke last time about worthiness and a state of lack, and today
Yes,
we're speaking of the half full of the cup, which is the love and the love for self, acceptance of self, and so on. And then on a societal level, when it's critical mass, it'll happen on the societal level. So I can see where things are going this way.
it moves from the micro to the macro.
Yes, 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 yes.
The
I have a,
idea that you
Micro to macro means the little things become everything. You deal with little things, but then you see the big picture. It grows.
Are not enough, that you are worthless. Be kind to yourself. En masse, on a certain level, when enough people reach the point where they are kind on average to themselves, where they live in that pure state of excitement, where they live from the state of synchronicity, you will start to see en masse more quickly, more easily, openly, honestly, loving. You will see your society en masse start to reflect all those things that many of you have been working towards.
What Ethium says here, when there's enough people, that critical mass reaches a point of enlightenment, of being more kind and loving to themselves, therefore to others, you will see changes in the societal structure.
Have been working.
You will see things change, and it will be societal structure, it'll be governing structure, it'll be education, it'll be how we grow and our food, it will be about toxin in the land and the water and the sky. It will be on where we spend our funds. I mean, right now, half of the world's GDP is spent towards arms. Imagine we just didn't spend that money anymore. We'll have half of our GDP available for other things, right? Imagine if the people, decided that we want to spend our money a certain direction, and it's for the people, enrich the people, make their lives better, make the cost of living cheaper, get the land clean, get the water clean, get the air clean, get things like medical, like public transportation, like food, like energy, all free. Why not? We are going to get there. But enough people have to see it, to believe it, to live it, to forgive themselves, so can accept the next level.
In the way it needs to show up. Not the way you want it to show up, but the way it needs to show up. Understand that by going with the flow, you will be open to the form that is most enriching and available to each one of you.
I understand. Thank you. I have a question here for you from Laurel.
Yes.
What does Ethium know about the Azez, A-Z-E-Z?
They are one of the ships in our alliance. They are part of our collective. They are not Sasani.
So that was a question from Laurel. Now there's an interesting question here from Val. The Sasani are a mixture between humans and greys, 50-50%. So that would be his appearance. Ask him later on, but I'm pretty sure about that one. Okay, Val, the person you see in the video is not Ethium. This is Kenneth. Ethium, we haven't seen him in person. He communicates telepathically through Ethium in a process that is called channeling. We imagine Ethan from things he told us, and we gather that he does look more grayish. And he did say in that video later on that is 50-50. So you can watch that video later, the one I'm showing now. And I think he said it in other one too, about that. Okay, you can also, if you want to find a good way to do it, is you can go and search on the blog here, and you can search for keywords. And one of these keywords may be, because I'm trying to put summaries, as many as I can, of as many videos as I can, so it becomes a repository you can search through. So use the search function on the Healy Market website, and you'll search through all the posts, and perhaps you'll get some additional information to help you put the picture together even better. But yes, 50-50. He already said that. All right. Thank you. Anything else about them that Lowell should know about?
They are part of the crew, the people that are helping to disseminate particular types of information, such as healing.
Thank you. There's a couple of lines here from. So the Azez. Where is it? The Azez are not.
One of the ships in our alliance. They are part of our
They're in the
collective.
alliance.
They are not Sasani.
Not Sasani. Anything else about them that Lowell should know about?
They are part of the crew, the people that are helping to disseminate particular types of information, such as healing.
So that was the answer. Remember that last time when we asked about Pele and the hybrid children, Ethan said that the hybrid children are more human, and that Ethan is a 50-50 because he's a Sasani, but he's not human, but he's a 50-50. So the reason to send the Shalanaya first, which is, I believe, 2 generations after Ethan, if I remember correctly, Ethan number 3, Shalanaya is 5. In the terms of the hybrid races, the Shalanaya, the more similar to human. They have more human DNA. Okay, so it's a easier, smoother transition to send the Shalanaya in first, especially in the form of children. Who doesn't like kids? Puppies. Alyssa is saying lots of manipulators in the astral realm, and then Alyssa says, yeah, no, how do you know? Basically, I think Alyssa is asking, oh, here. How do you guys know when you're talking to good spirits?
Are they enriching your life? Are you feeling a state of anxiety? Do you choose to match the frequency that holds you down? When you are, especially at the level of the astral realm, it is by agreement. You are choosing to more openly match the vibration of those that are of a lower frequency. You are allowing them to bring you down. Understand that as you move up in your frequency, it becomes obvious. And we mean obvious when you are actually dealing with those types of beings.
Obvious, and we mean obvious. You're going to know. You're going to know. Pamela Arlen channeling from last night spoke of that some UFO is going to land very close to the White House in 2030, I believe, or 2028, something like that. And it's going to be world phenomena. Ethan said that disclosure will be done gradually. So first, more sightings. That's what we're going to see this year, and more personal contact. So he considers what we're doing now, not just myself, but everyone on this channel watching now, and to the same degree, really, everyone's going to be watching this and understanding what's going on here. So this right now is a form of contact, and I absolutely know that Ethan is ready for us, and he knows I'll be running now. And Kenneth will join us when he joins us. It's fine, and Ethan is ready to go, and he's probably right there, ready to go. And you will know when the contact is happening, because it's just undeniable, not only visually but also it's different. Like, it's not human. It's different. Yeah, it couldn't even be any other way.
No,
Right.
when nothing is hidden, it is very obvious to us because we are coming from a certain level and frequency to be able to know we can choose those things.
Right. And you can see these things a mile coming, I guess, because you sense it.
We know it.
Right.
We know when a vibration or frequency is not of cohesive or a vibrational match to us, so we choose simply not to participate in those type of interactions.
Thank
Use
you
your
very much.
discernment to determine whether or not the interaction or the experience or the connection is right for you.
But that means you do not have to engage. Even if they come right next to you and say, "Hey, I'm from Sirius," or whatever, you don't have to engage. You can decide if you want to do this or not. And that's a good rule for life. Thank you. There's a question
This
from
comes
A here.
this, this comes down to a know thyself and know what's true for you. Know what is in your space. Be willing to go with the flow. And if people disappear out of your life, and if people don't jive with you or in resonance with you, allow them to leave. It's one of the nicest things you can do for them and for yourself.
So here the conversation is going towards the right moment, the right time. But if it's not the right person or that person is leaving, let them leave. It's better for everybody. Those energies do not need to mix anymore. And then I ask him about some examples. Thank you. There's a question from A now. I believe we discussed this before, but we'll repeat if that's okay. A is asking, Ethan, what frequency does the channel move to enable the connection?
Closer to the idea of 140,000.
I don't know what 140,000 measures, but the channel, Kenneth, when he's in a channeling state, has to be in that frequency, brings himself to this frequency, and he can do it very quickly. In order to communicate Ethan. Now I asked Ethan later, like, what frequency are you at? He's in a 400, so he has to bring himself down and Ethan up until they match, and that's how they can communicate and interact. Yeah. Thank you.
But at the same time, we lower our frequency to be able to connect.
Right. What frequency would you be on, Ethan?
On a daily basis,
Yeah.
I am closer to the idea of 450, 100,000. I am more at the point in my evolution because understand that when you are speaking to me, the different ways that I speak, depending on which part of me you're speaking to, which energetic level that I have reached, or what version of me that is coming through, because you are actually, in a sense, speaking to different versions of me simultaneously. Some where I am operating closer to the idea of pure non physicality, and other times you are speaking to me when I am more dense in nature and only quasi physical.
Kenneth will be here in a minute. Ethan saying he shifts between frequencies. He also said that he shifts between versions of himself, and it's not always the same version of him that we interact with. So that is very, very interesting. Everything is in motion, everything is dynamic, nothing ever stays the same. He also said that we shift endlessly all the time to various versions of ourselves, even though we're not really aware of it. One time we asked him, "How old are you?" He said, "I was 60." One time we asked him, "How old are you?" He said, I'm 500. One time, "How old are you?" He says, "I'm a different age every like 9 trillion times a second." Okay? Because he can shift like that. me see if Kenneth is coming. I'm gonna run this, and I see. Ethan, do you have simultaneous connections with, or just one at a time? Like myself, I can only process one at a time. But can you be speaking with us now and also be in touch with other Sasani or anyone else?
Yes. I'm also speaking through multiple versions of the channel currently. He is having this similar conversation with different versions of you.
So these conversations happen on multiples in parallel.
Yes, all happening simultaneously.
And which version is the version that I'm aware of now?
You are speaking to a version of me that is more closely related to the idea of non-physicality.
Thank you.
You see, when you look at the channel, when he is still twitching, it is more of the level where he has not quite reached to be able to have a smooth connection. That is why there are still the twitches during the transmissions, because we are in the process of upgrading him and adjusting his frequency and his physical form to facilitate a higher energetic state for us to connect to and bring through that particular vibration for all of you to become part of.
So what Ethan's saying here, hi Kenneth.
Hi, everyone.
What I'll finish with this and bring Ethan in and Kenneth in, and what Ethan's saying here is completing the idea of the various vibrations, and then they're upgrading Kenneth in order for Kenneth to have a better connection with Ethan. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to go into my little. I'm going to go into the spaceship.
Yeah, you go on a spaceship, and I'll make you big.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I had a little bit of a thing happen with the session today where a person ended up locking their keys in their car, and we've been waiting for someone to show up to let them into their car.
You're not on a spaceship yet.
No, hold on 1 second. Come on. There we go. Come on.
Virtual
Uh,
auto.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I really should put my green screen up so I actually can. How y'all doing tonight? Sorry it took me so long.
There we go. Hello.
How you doing, Val? Haven't seen you for a while. There we go. See, now I'm in the center. Who all's with us today? Hey, Adam, how's it going? Yeah, so I was, as I was saying, I had a session earlier with one of my clients, and she locked her keys in the car. So we've been waiting for the last few hours for someone to show up. So. My neck is fuzzy. How are you doing, Kelly? Adam. So if you guys have things you would like to talk about today, like, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. Yeah, man, I got some food in me. I'm actually feeling pretty good right now. Hey, Leroy, you protecting me? this is the most riveting part of one of these streams when I sit here and I don't know what to do and I can. Do you guys have like while we wait for Jozef, and I can drop in and if you guys have a question you'd like to like ask it in the stream real quick and I can actually. And so that would be his appearance. Ask him later on, but I'm sure about that one. Yes, that would actually be so Val. That would actually be a very accurate statement for the Sasani. They're a representation of the 50-50 split between humans and gray extraterrestrials, plus a smattering mix of other extraterrestrial DNA mixed in. So, and yeah, like I said, ask a question. I can drop in. Yosi can actually join us back once he comes back in. So if you guys have questions for me, feel free to join or ask. What would Ethan like us to know today? Well, if you give me a second, I can drop in and I'm going to answer the question that Kelly had because, yeah. If you give me a second, I'm just going to go straight in. Hello, how are you doing all today? We would like to share with you and your understanding at this time that we come to let you know that the frequency and adjustments that have been made for some time in your experience and your way of doing and being are producing the desirable outcome to be able to move forward in your ability to connect with us at this time. The channel is still experiencing some resistance in his movements for now. But your connection, your ability to connect to us, helps us expand in our ability to connect to you. You create a bridge more openly and honestly through the experiences that you have in these dialogues that we are speaking with you at this time. So, by choosing, and we express this completely, it's a choice. You do not have to completely interact with us if you do not wish. But if you choose to bridge to our reality and our experience of the universe, we will help you bridge your ability to move into more upper densities where things are lighter in nature. This is what we would like to share with you today.
Hello, Ethan. Thank you.
Good day.
Good day. How are you today?
Perfect. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's a beautiful day here. Ethan, I wanted to talk to you about light today.
Yes. Light.
What is light?
Light is everything. I'm light. You are light. Light is the expression of what you are. Understand that is a particular vibration that shows up in your reality in a very specific way. But understand that you are made of light in nature and reality. You are light in your vibration and all that you express.
What is light made of and how does it become?
It just is.
Just is.
It is the reflection that you need from all that is to be able to perceive and experience the reality that you think you are in.
I hear the term everything is made of light. What does it mean?
Just that. It is light vibrating at different frequencies to make you think that it is dense so you can have the experience of physical reality. But if you would not be able to perceive many things, you wouldn't know they exist.
Yes, correct.
It is that reflection back to you of your own personal light that you are reflecting into the reality that you have created for yourself to experience and have the experience of being physical.
Thank you. The way I perceive light is some sort of a bridge between the metaphysical and the physical. Would that be somewhat correct?
Yes, it is that which extends from upper level vibrations into the physical reality for you to experience.
In Genesis, it says, the God said, "Let it be light." What does he mean?
It is the word. It is the first vibration that led to the creation of the physical experience that you are moving through. It's the idea of separation. It's the idea of that first reflection of all that is to the one. It is the first thing that was separated away from all it is.
Thank you. When we say everything is made of light, does that mean everything is made of light?
Yes,
Even the angels are made of light?
yes. Especially when you vibrate at a very high frequency to lower density beings, lower frequency beings, you appear in nature, your physical body, to be covered in light. If you were to meet someone 150 years ago of your understanding, as you sit now in your vibration, you would be radiant to them.
Right.
It's the idea of the difference between frequency. Many of the beings that you have registered as being luminous beings in your past that have been written down even in your Bible were
Uh-huh.
not physical by nature. They were light because they were resonating at such a high frequency that allowed them to appear to be purely light to the
Right.
people that were operating at a much lower frequency.
I see. And would it be true that if I met someone from the future, they would look more bright to me, more
If they
luminous?
had a much higher vibration than you, yes.
Right. Right. Okay, very good. When Esther Hicks said once she asked to see Abram, it was just a flickering of light.
Yes. That
Say that?
specific consciousness, that specific collective, because that is what it is, because it is operating at such a high frequency. When it did appear to her through her experience and her way of connecting to him and what that has to give, because it was at a range where she cannot completely perceive it, that is all she was able to perceive.
Right. Right.
Remember, I am a member of the Sasani species from Sasani. Sasani means place of living light. Sasani people means the people of living light.
Living mind,
Living light.
living light. Thank you.
So by nature, we exist as light. We are a living expression of that idea of what light is and what it can express itself as,
Right.
much in the same way that you are.
How can I have more light in my life then?
Lighten up.
Yeah. 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 That's great. Thank you. I listened to some of the raw material, and Raw speaks about love light and light love. Can you
Okay.
explain a bit about that, please?
To truly love someone is to allow their light to shine. To truly love someone, to be in a place where you can exist and experience your reality and other people's reality in such a way, you live in a place of light. You love from a place of light. Light is your natural expression of who and what you are and why you exist in the form that you do. Love, in the same way, is light. It is a natural vibration. It exists around you at all times, in all places, whether you know it or perceive it or not. But it does exist. It is there to support you in all that you do. It knows you are 100% worthy to exist. It is that vibration that exists from all that is through your experience of who and what you are at all times. So, being allowing yourself and being in that state of being able to perceive and receive the light, the love that is extended from all that is into your personal experience, and understand that you live this way. When we say we are here to help, we are not here to be worshipped by anyone in any way, shape, or form, but we are here to let you know and let you be okay with the idea that you are what you are, which is a aspect and a perspective within all that is.
Thank you. Aspect of a perspective, yeah?
Yes, aspect of one reality.
Right. And the other versions of me, they're aspect of a different reality,
Yes,
but I'm not aware when I shift the realities or shift my perspectives.
it is automatic in nature because you have shifted from this moment to this moment. Those are completely different realities. They
Right.
are on different frequencies. They are not no longer a vibrational match that you have shifted through to the reality you are currently in, and you are automatically shifting all the time. It is like a single frame of a video. Is
Okay,
there
so
movement in one video frame? No. The idea that you are able to connect to the idea and move outside of the idea of what you perceive as linear time allows you to be more objective in nature when you are actually looking at the things happening inside of your physical experience.
what's a good way to look?
The idea of your imagination. The idea of your imagination connects you to your higher self and the larger reality that you exist in and experience. Imagine you are in a video game that you have the idea of commands that allow you to move out of your body. And when you have
Yeah.
reached the point where you are able to leave the body behind, even though you can see it is there, you are still there and shifting up
Yeah.
your idea of your consciousness to that level where you are in control of the reality from that aspect will allow you to disassociate from the body, but understand that the connection is still there and you can move back into it whenever you feel.
Right. Thank you. What if that is light? What is dark then, or darkness?
It is the idea of contrast. It is still part of the light, it still exists within the light, but it is the idea of contrast within your experience of who and what you are. It is those things that rub you the wrong way, but the darkness also exists within the light.
Because it's made of light.
Yes,
Okay. So when people say darkness is the absence of light, that's incorrect.
yes. Darkness would be more appropriately called the contrast.
Right.
Look at your own life and your experience of ex- people you have lived. You have been in the light, the positive aspect of them, and you've also been in the negative aspect of them or the darker side. But they are still the contrast in the same thing, even though they appear to be two different things all at once.
I see. I see. Thank you. Yeah. So if everything's made of light, the quote unquote good is made of light, and the quote unquote bad is made of light. But there's
Yes,
still light. Okay.
but
Okay. I
they
see.
are different aspects of the same light.
Yes.
To be able to say things more clearly, it is much more easy to see it when you have the dark. Otherwise, it would appear to be a flat image with no contrast. So you cannot better define those situations and those people that enter your life.
Yes. Yes. I see. I
Remember,
have.
the principles, the ideas that we share with you have been stated before. We are just here to clarify and to help motivate you to look at these things more thoroughly from a different perspective. Even if you have heard it from another person, we are here merely to help you reinterpret and redefine how you would like to actually experience those things, whether it's dark or light, high vibration or low vibration. Understand that if you look at a sine wave inside of a energetic reading device,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
understand that there's the peaks and the valleys inside the frequencies that you're reading.
Yes.
They're very much the same thing. They are connected to each other, and it allows them to exist simultaneously, correct?
Yes.
So there you go. There's your dark and there's your light. You have your peaks, you have your valleys. They are simultaneously coexisting because they are one and the same.
Thank you. I have a question from Val. What are the benefits we can obtain when we fill our bodies with gold and light through our imagination?
The idea of the golden light filling your body with that particular frequency, it is the vibration, the frequency of creation. It is the idea that you, as a being, are able to heal because gold itself contains the idea of eternity. It is the idea of expansiveness and connectedness. It is what allows you to fully engulf and become part of your reality and become more fully yourself because you are bringing in the vibration of eternity into yourself. You are more embodying the idea of your higher mind in your physical form and connecting them in such a way that they are able to adapt and grow and change as needed.
And all this is in gold?
Yes, it carries a particular vibration that is encapsulated in that particular idea.
Thank you. I read in last week's portion of the Torah they read at the synagogue on Saturday, and there were direct instructions how to create the tabernacle, and it had to be pure gold, covered
Yes,
with pure gold. Same
yes,
reason.
yes. Much in the same way that we said that certain information was given to the Jewish people in the past, the Israelites.
Hmm.
This is some of that particular information that was handed down. But if you think in more metaphysical terms, non physical terms, the idea of encapsulating your entire being internally with that particular vibration will help you grow. It insulates you away from the negative, but not hiding you away. It gives you the ability to be more filled up with your internal light that is gold.
Would you recommend gold jewelry or gold items around?
We would recommend taking atomized gold.
I'm not familiar with it.
The idea of atomized gold incorporating into your diet in some way, shape, or form as necessary will help fortify your immune system and your internal systems to actually function more easily. It is a dissolved gold that can be ingested safely,
Okay.
but also the idea of having some sort of golden jewelry on allows you to embody the idea of having this particular vibration more physical in your experience that you can actually see.
Thank you. I will look up atomized gold. The same portion of the Torah also spoke of the cherubim, which
Yes.
would be made of pure gold and face each other. And then he says, when you get close to, I will speak from in between the cherubim. What does that mean?
The balance point. You are by nature you are familiar with the idea of alchemy, turning lead into gold.
Yes.
It is being the balance point between the negative and the positive, and understand that you can be the point in between where you balance both aspects, your negative and your positive side.
Right. So the Kohen, the priest, will go there and then hear messages through that device.
Yes, but in more modern terms, it is more instructions on how you can connect to your higher mind and to that particular vibration so you can receive that particular information instead of needing to have someone be an intermediary for you.
Right.
If you
And
take the instructions from the Torah literal, it is more about eventually making you your own priest, you being able to connect to your higher self and live in that particular frequency at all times.
thank you. And that seemed to be the era we're moving into.
Yes.
Yes.
Eventually, the idea of spirituality that you will express on your world is more at all times instead of needing to have an intermediary where someone is there to tell you the particular interpretations that you think are wrong. Be self empowered and able to connect to those things yourself and receive the information directly instead of needing that extra step.
Right. Right. And yeah, and we did speak of people becoming more intuitive.
Yes,
That's the
this
same thing.
is one aspect, and this is also one part of it.
Yes, thank you.
But the cherubim, the self, you have the idea of your conscience, you have the negative or the devil on one shoulder, and the positive or another
Right.
positive aspect on one shoulder.
I see. Thank you. Another aspect of gold that perhaps you can connect for me is I read that some countries called the BRICS countries, they're buying a lot of gold, tons and tons of gold. And if I remember correctly, in Canada here, we don't have any gold to set against currency. What, what is that because there's some sort of like global understanding of the value of gold on all levels, and for some reason Canada does not see it, but other countries do?
Gold by nature, because it does not degrade, it does not corrode. In this way,
Mhm.
like you have seen many other metals do, because it holds such a connectivity and is a conduit and it does not corrode. It has been seen through your history that it is a good purveyor of wealth.
And some countries don't see it as such.
Many of your countries have moved away from the idea of the gold standard. And this, in nature, is part of what these countries are trying to return to put faith in something that is physical, that holds value in such a easy way. Because at this time on your planet, there is not very much gold. There are veins, there are places that it's scattered, but there are not a lot of gold still currently on your planet.
Is it true that Anunnaki carved a lot of the gold on the planet and took it elsewhere?
Yes,
For what purpose, please?
they atomized it and put it into their atmosphere to help balance that particular planet.
Did it work for them?
Yes,
Which planet is it?
it is not in your system.
Okay. And is that planet still active? Is there life on that planet still?
It does still have life. It's just transformed over thousands of years. Those particular beings that you speak of as the Anunnaki, they have transformed over time and they are no longer what you would refer to as the Anunnaki. They've grown. They've
I see.
changed. They've changed shape. But they also have evolved in their minds and their physical forms.
Thank you. I have one more question about light. I've seen an experiment where it, there's a ray of light of sorts, and then if you look away from the ray of light, the light behaves in a certain pattern. But if you look at the light behaves in a different pattern. What
Yes,
is that?
it's responding to your consciousness. Is responding to your particular vibration because light itself is conscious.
Right.
So it is communicating with you to say, I hear you, or I am doing what you ask of me.
So it's a sort of a physical proof that our thoughts do control our reality,
Yeah.
literally.
Yes. You are literally your thoughts made manifest into the physical reality that you think you are in. It's
Right.
not this or that. It's this and that. You are the reality that you exist in. You are the entire reality. There's nothing else to make your reality out of other than you. Your light, your frequency, your particular reality that you see is a reflection of the beliefs that you carry. And by those particular beliefs, you will hold on to those things. You will hold on and create and recreate each individuality over and over and over again. And it will track you to different realities that match your particular vibration and your frequency that you have been putting out. So what you see in your reality is a return of that particular vibration that you have had for many years.
Thank you.
You create your reality. It's your choice.
Is there is just me in this reality and I imagine everything else, or is it actual other people in the reality interacting with me?
You create your version of everyone in your reality. You're creating your version of me. I'm creating my version of you. We are all creating our own reality. It is a co-creation. But there is also the idea of the greater reality, the reality where it is the collective reality.
Right. But I guess what I'm asking is, you do exist. Like, I am communicating with someone which is not me, correct?
Yes. But also, I am acting as a reflection for your higher mind, as well as any other people that watch these particular videos in the future.
Right, right, right. So there's multiple simultaneous connections and interactions between myself and you, which myself is this physical person here, and the higher mind and perhaps layers above, and so would be for you. And we all interacted with each other all the time in various dimensions.
Yes, but I'm also interacting with the more expanded awareness version of you
Right,
as well.
right.
Matter of fact, that is what is actually coming through right now as we speak, because it is helpful for us to connect with you in that way.
Thank you. And when you say the more expanded version, can you please explain what that is?
You have the idea of you being 5 years old.
Okay.
You have the idea of your age now.
Yes.
How much more information do you have of you from when you were 5 years old?
Right. Much, much more.
Well, there you go. The higher mind is that version of you that has access to all of the information for the entire incarnation and the experience of why you chose to have the experience of being you.
Thank you. Does the higher mind has access to past lives or simultaneous lives?
That is more the idea of the oversoul.
Okay, I
Is
see.
that which connects to many, many different incarnations simultaneously. Your higher self is that which governs you through this particular incarnation.
Higher mind and higher self are interchangeable terms,
Yeah.
yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure. And okay, yes, because last time we spoke, you mentioned that the higher mind is per incarnation.
Yes. It
Right.
is
So it's basically
it is an individuated level to help manage a particular incarnation, your parallel existence, as it were, just a higher form of you that has access to all of the entire version of you that was you in this particular lifetime or this particular slice of reality.
and the oversoul would be the level above that.
Yes, it's that which connects to many different lifetimes simultaneously.
So the oversoul is no longer individuated, it's always there.
Yes, but it always is there. It never stops being there.
Yeah. And what happens to the higher mind of a person who deceased?
It goes back into the whole. It goes back into the oversoul to help enrich all the other lives that you are connected to.
Right. And the oversoul can access any of these higher minds at any time, basically.
Yes.
Okay, I see, I see. Thank you.
You ask for a more expanded awareness in your connection. This is what we give you. When you go up to the level of the oversoul, you are able to connect to those things. But because you are not on that particular level where you're able to exist as an oversoul, you do not have a particular awareness of what an oversoul will be.
Yes.
The idea of our civilization is more of a collective at this point where everyone is connected telepathically. So therefore, we have the idea of our oversoul being integrated. We are at this point, we may have individuated personalities like what is being expressed through the channel, which is more of a 50-50 split
Hmm.
for the channel and myself, because this is
Hmm.
not actually my real personality. It is more of the idea of an intermediary for us to connect to and have these sort of conversations with you.
I see. Thank you. Are all the Sasanis part of the same oversoul, or there are various oversouls?
At this point, we are all part of the same oversoul. We
And
are
would
not
that
we are not separated out like humans are.
okay? And that oversoul has only Sasanis within it?
No, it has the idea of many different beings that come and go that allow us all to connect because we all know that we are part of the same oversoul. So we are able to connect to all of each other without needing to fight each other because we see each other as family as another aspect of us. So therefore, why would we damage ourselves?
I see what you mean. Thank you. And what's the relationship between an oversoul and a soul group, please?
Soul group is more of the idea of individuated consciousness that actually play the different roles. So you have this particular oversoul connecting to this oversoul and saying, I would like to connect and bring down an aspect of you so you can play this role. It is the idea of many oversouls coming together to actually connect to each other and be able to actually decide, I would like to have this experience with all of you.
Right. So each oversoul spawns, I don't know how to say it, a higher mind, and then there's a physical incarnation. So, say the channel and myself may belong to different oversouls, but these oversouls decided that there'll be some sort of a connection, and here we are.
Yes. You set up the time and place, the aspect of you to be able to connect to each other so that you are able to have these experiences.
Yes. Thank you. Is there a large number of oversouls for all the humans on the earth right now?
300,000.
Sorry?
300,000.
300,000. That contains the give or take 7 or 8 billion?
Yes.
I see.
Understand that as an oversoul, you can have many incarnations happening simultaneously.
Right. And is it limited by how many incarnations it can process?
No. When you are at that particular level of experience, what you can process and what you can perceive is much higher than what you can do as a human.
Yeah.
Because you contain the whole totality of the experience of you as a soul in many, many different incarnations.
So each oversoul is a giant bank of information.
Yes. And then it goes up to higher, and you become an oversoul of an oversoul with many different oversouls connected to and with that particular oversoul.
And what's above that?
An oversoul over an oversoul of an oversoul until you reach the point of all that is.
Right.
The
Is
the levels that you speak of, you go from where you are now to being more cohesive, and then eventually you do reach the point where you're able to connect an entire world.
right.
Imagine that, and then you connect all those oversouls into one being, one collective. Could you see yourself as separate from anything around you if you were at that level of understanding?
Absolutely not.
There you go.
Thank you. That's wonderful. You mentioned that all souls were created at the same time, yes?
Yes.
Is there a number to them that is there a number for the
No.
number of souls?
No.
No.
Numbers are not necessary in this case.
Right.
If you were to ask how many beings are there in the universe, we couldn't tell you. Not
Okay.
that we would want to.
Is there a limit to the universe?
No. There are also as many different universes as you can think of, and then some.
And it's all part of all that is.
Yes, it wouldn't be complete without all those pieces.
Right.
Then it wouldn't be all that is if anything was missing from it.
Yes, yes. Okay. Are you able to take some questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
The channel ate a large meal prior to this connection, so his body is drowsy.
Okay, well, you can let me know whenever we need to finish.
Oh, we will.
Thank you. Okay, there's a question here about the philosopher's stone.
Yeah.
Refined, the refined mind and body, or divine essence, the soul or body. Could you please comment on the philosopher's stone, please?
You all are the philosopher's stones. You all are going through the idea of the purification process to become the philosopher's stone, to alchemize your native experiences, to turn lead into gold.
Thank you.
That is why earlier we said that particular statement.
In other words, to see the light.
Yes.
Very good.
Understand that while the channel himself does not know what is going to be asked, we are reading your particular vibration to be able to alchemize and deliver the correct information prior to these connections.
So you more or less know what I'm going to ask.
More or less.
More or less. I don't really know what I'm going to ask many times.
Because we are connected to your higher self, we already know these things.
Right.
Because we are the reflection that you need. We are not here to stop you from having these experiences. As a matter of fact, we are here to help you through these experiences.
Yes. Thank you. I have a question from Kelly. Are
Yes?
we under a dome? Are there lands beyond the dome?
No, you are on a sphere, Void. You are not on a flat planet. I can tell you because I've seen it from my ship, from being outside your atmosphere quite far. You are on a sphere.
Thank you. I think so too. Okay, there's a question from Love to Love. Does my body need a particular vitamin mineral? Is it like 360 degrees from I usually am joyful, I feel nothing?
When you are in that state of joy, that state of love, that frequency that is sustaining, you are existing in the same way that my species does, where we do not eat, we do not require sustenance because we are taking in the vibration of the universe into our being. We exist on nothing but frequency at this point. We do not have the idea of food needing to be eaten. But understand that if you have a craving, that is partly your higher mind, your spirit guide telling you go a particular way, or that your body has this craving, a need to be fulfilled, that you might find something if you go down that road.
Okay, but what about craving for sugar like ice cream? That's your gut biome, yeah?
Yes. But the idea of sugar that you have and have been eating for many, many years at this point, you know these things are not healthy for you. And many of the companies and many of the food services that have been put down your throat and given to you throughout your entire life are not healthy for you.
Yes,
But also use discernment to know what is right for you.
right.
We
And
are
I'm
here
guessing,
we are here to help empower all of you to make your own decisions and understand what is correct for you.
yes. And may I say, I'll guess that removing my need for sugar by dealing with it in a professional, special way would elevate my frequency.
Yes, but you also must deal with the belief that says you need to have sugar.
Right.
You can do those things all you want. We would absolutely advise you to completely do those things. But the other thing we would suggest doing is understand why you feel like you need those things.
Right, because sugar has become people say, okay, I had a tough day, I'll award myself with a cookie.
Yes.
But that's not a real award, that's poison.
Yes, but that's what you've been told. So that's what you believe it to be.
Right.
You
Um,
don't need to beat yourself up over these things, but we would advise you to actually look at these things more neutrally from the outside instead of just allowing yourself to follow along with a particular story, a belief system that you have bought into.
Right. Lighten up.
You understand that the idea of many drugs that are on your planet are not healthy for you. Many
Yes.
people still take these things.
I'm sure less drugs will be consumed as we move along. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Eventually, these particular corporations, these companies, will no longer exist.
Right.
Technologies will come along to replace their systems that they use currently to heal or medicate people.
Yeah. You did mention two prototype of medbeds once.
Yes, that is one particular permission slip that you could learn to heal yourself.
That's good. Okay. 1 second, please. There's a question here. What frequency are humans at when we are in a state of euphoric joy? And what frequency are humans at when we are in a state of sadness?
The idea of sadness as a vibration, we would like to address first. You are closer to the idea of, at this point, the idea of 30 to 40,000 cycles per second. Whereas when you exist in the state of happiness, of euphoria, you are existing closer to the idea of 130 cycles per second, closer to the idea of non physicality. It is the euphoria that we feel at all times, but more intense.
Yes. And some days seem to be emotionally up and down.
Yes,
What what is that and why is that? How I must be like going through these frequencies quickly.
yes, but you are also experiencing the contrast of the experience of those things that you would like to have in your physical incarnation. Remember, all these things are about the idea of contrast. It's okay.
Right. If I didn't know sad, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't know happy. If I wouldn't know happy, I wouldn't know sad. One without the other.
Yes, that is why those particular sayings actually exist with inside of your realities.
Thank you. There was a question from Pankaj Gogoi. Could you tell us a little bit about Lord Vishnu and his incarnations in brief?
The particular vibration of Vishnu, that particular being that existed, he was a higher level being that incarnated down into the physical experience that you know as Vishnu because he carried such a high frequency in his being. And when he came in contact, the idea of Krishna, the idea of Vishnu, Buddha, those particular types of beings, much in the same way that Vishnu was, he was more of the idea of an extraterrestrial that was embodied in a physical experience. And because he was at such a high frequency in that particular lifetime, he expressed himself with more of the actual extraterrestrial DNA that was injected into you as humans in the first place.
What kind of abilities did that DNA give him?
Telekinesis, telepathy, the ability to levitate, the ability to transmute, the ability to see into other realities. They are abilities that you all actually do possess, but they are also locked behind a particular level of frequency that you do not currently possess.
Right.
But think of
And
these particular beings and these teachers as merely that. They are teaching you how to get into the particular state in order to be at the level, much in the way that Vishnu taught his people to live in that way. As we said in the previous transmission that many of you mistake beings that have come here to help you as gods. They are not.
Right. So when we mentioned the Anunnaki earlier, there must have seen as gods or angels by people at that time.
Yes.
What would be the timeline for Anunnaki to be on Earth?
They were here closer to the idea of 400,000 years ago, the initial beings that created humans in the first place.
The
But
Anunnaki created humans?
yes, they created humans. You look like them, as a matter of fact.
What's the relation between the Anunnaki and the Nephilim, please?
The Nephilim are the idea of the offspring between a human and the idea of an Anunnaki breeding.
Can you
They
repeat that?
exhibit, they exhibit a much higher level and amount of DNA from the Anunnaki because they are direct offspring versus humans that have been genetically engineered to have certain DNA shut off in their genetic code.
I see. And the Nephilim were large, yeah?
Yes, they
How
express
large?
they express more of the idea of the physical form closer to the idea of the Anunnaki.
Can you tell me a bit about their height or weight or the body?
They were male, they were female. They were more closely related to the idea of the Atlantean civilization that did eventually breed into your population. They were quite large in nature.
Over 10 feet tall?
Some.
Some.
The Anunnaki by nature were closer to the idea of 17 to 18 feet tall on average.
Okay. And how do they get to Earth?
Ships.
Where do they come from?
The idea of the Anunnaki themselves are more of the idea of the Orion diaspora that cast across the stars millions of years ago. This was one branch of that particular civilization that ended up on Earth.
I see. Thank you. Um, what about the being called Elohim and Yahweh? Is that the same one?
No, that is more closely related to the idea of all that is. It is just a particular name for that being or that particular vibration. It is
So
not
they,
one particular person.
I see. It'll be a much higher energy or entity of sorts.
Yes.
And when he says the Elohim said, "Let there be light," that was that Elohim,
Yes.
and the Anunnaki came much later.
Yes.
Yes, yes, okay.
But the name itself is more of a creation for humans to be able to connect with.
Right. Thank you.
Remember,
Okay.
many things get passed down through stories in your civilization for thousands of years and changed over time.
Right. And what DNA was used to create humans?
Portions of the Anunnaki DNA. You had a naturally evolved hominid that did exist on your world, but ultimately it was Anunnaki DNA because that is one of their specialties to deal with DNA to biologically engineer things. So they used their own DNA. But they, as a species, especially at that time, were hybridized to begin with. So you had many different species injected into you when those things did happen.
Thank you. The pharaohs in Egypt, were they Anunnaki or some related to them?
The initial idea of pharaohs were actually more priests. They were given dominion over a particular place in order to help guide. But many humans, especially when they are given power, buy into the idea of their own hype, per se,
Thank you.
because they were put in that position for thousands of years. They liked the idea of power, the idea of control. They bought into the idea of duality, and you've seen the results.
Right. Speaking of the pharaohs, I was thinking today about the pyramids, specifically the Giza, and I remember hearing there's some water underneath. And I remember the shafts are almost, I don't know if impossible, but I'm not sure how anyone, no one really found a way to explain how it was built. Can you relate to those two things, please? The water under Giza and how it was built with all these shafts in there.
The idea of the particular shaft that you are speaking of and the water, the idea those particular buildings were put on top of aquifers that are now dry. They were more specifically those very advanced tools, those buildings were more about power generation.
What technology did he use?
To create it, there was
And
much technology that was passed down from the Atlanteans when they arrived in Egypt, past the idea of the flood that destroyed their civilization.
uh
They use frequency and vibration to be able to cut and connect to the idea of water to be able to shape the stones themselves. So, therefore, when they were able to resonate with the particular stones and water, they could cut through the stones very easily without much effort.
they need a machine, or they can just think about it.
They could just think about it because they understood the idea of resonance with water itself. They were able to connect with and cut. You have seen the idea of the obelisk inside of a stone quarry for granite.
Yeah.
The idea that it looks like there's scoop marks at the bottom of it where they were carving out the obelisk from the ground in one piece.
Okay.
The level of precision that they were able to actually acquire by using that particular understanding and that particular technology, it allowed them to be able to cut through such hard stone without needing to actually have machinery like you. That is why you do not find the type of machinery like you would expect inside of your civilization. They had many different technologies, but they were different than how your technology expresses itself.
Thank you. Is it true to Giza only or to all the pyramids?
Many of the pyramids. The less advanced ones are actually newer than the ones of the idea of Giza.
Right.
But
And Giza,
as time went on, much of the information and technology that the Atlanteans brought with them, the ones that did survive into the land of Kemp, disappeared because those beings were no longer living.
Hmm. Thank you, Ethan. Are you familiar with the Cusco where the stones fit into each other and it's impossible to cut it with human tools?
That was not cut like that.
Right.
They used You see this in many of the post-Diluvian societies, post-Atlantean societies, where technology was brought to those particular societies to create those types of structures.
Thank you.
Because you cannot actually explain how it works or understand how it is able to happen,
Yeah.
this makes it so you, as a being, have to wonder, have to investigate. So you go beyond what they tell you is factual.
Right. We have a phrase in our society called the fourth quadrant, which represents what you don't know that you don't know.
Yes. You don't know many things that will eventually become commonplace to you.
Right. Thanks. I have a question here. What about the frequency we get from ease or deep peace? How can we ascend our frequency to the maximum cycles per second, acting on our passion at every moment?
The idea of acting on your excitement, your passion, your bliss is the path of least resistance because you are operating at the level of the path of least resistance. This allows you to actually function more holistically. It is a complete kit, it leaves nothing out. So when you ask, is there anything more I can do? You don't need to do anything more because it is the path of least resistance. It is the thing that naturally will guide and raise your frequency, and it will bring everything to the surface that you need to know. It is complete. It leaves nothing out.
Thank you. There's a question here. I'll read it. I don't understand it. What about the imposter Anunnaki from the Sumerian myths? Are they related to royal families?
Many of those which you refer to as the imposter Anunnaki were a different branch of the Anunnaki themselves because the initial ones that did create humans in the first place were recalled once they found out that they created humans. The idea is more of these were guides. These were people that actually did show up, did exist inside of your civilization, and did walk among you for quite some time. They went back and forth.
Thank you. When the Anunnaki created humans, how does a soul come into it? How does it gets life?
This is more along the ideas because they are so advanced in their technology compared to you, because they understand that when there is a suitable vessel, a soul will actually take up residence in that particular being.
Are humans now able to create a vessel that a soul will come to?
Not at this time. There is much more that goes into creating a fully sentient species than what you, at your level of understanding and technology, are able to do.
Okay, thank you. Slightly off topic, but maybe not. I saw some posts about um, so-called meat in double quotes that is printed with a 3D printer, and food has been so-called printed. It doesn't feel right to me. What is that?
That frequency of knowing something is not right, that is your higher mind's way of saying, this is not right for you.
Could it be right for someone else then?
Potentially. But if there is no true life behind the things that you consume, they will deplete you very quickly.
Right. Well, I guess the parallel is if there's an advanced being that create a vessel that life would come, does it mean there's any life value in this printed product?
Yes.
So it can be nutritious.
It could be nutritious, but it wouldn't nourish you necessarily.
I see. Thank you. That's a good way to say it. Okay, there's one more here.
Understand that you want to eat food that's will nourish you, mind, body, and soul, not just your physical form. You could eat those things, but it's not necessarily good for you.
Right. I see what you mean. And there's no reason to eat anything that's not good for me.
No, unless you say it is. It's your choice. We would never
Yes.
deny you your ability to actually eat what you feel is correct for you.
Right.
We're not your mother. We're not your father. We are not here to scold you. We are here to guide you and to help you to understand more fully those definitions and how they are outdated so you can make the decision for what is right for you to experience in your reality.
Thank you. There's one here from Pinkaj. From where all the teachings of Vedas come from? Is Anunnaki related with that?
The idea of the Vedas themselves was actually more information that was passed down from Lemurians because it is from that particular part of the world. Much of the information that the Lemurians themselves acquired was disseminated through the different tribes and the different peoples. Eventually, the ones that actually exhibited and lived in India and have existed for many, many thousands of years in many ways were more advanced than those of the Atlanteans because they more expressed it physically and less technologically speaking.
Could you give an example of what that would look like?
The idea you have many stories of Buddhas, you have the idea of yogis being able to levitate in midair without
Mhm.
the need or aid of technology because they were operating at such a high frequency at that time.
I
Yes.
understand. Yes, I understand.
Because they
That's
were able to more naturally exhibit the frequency that you as a beings, as a species, actually do have and have forgotten.
right.
So
Right.
therefore, this is an example of what that particular understanding would lead to.
Thank you. So, on the same lines of teleporting or telekinesis, there was a show, Star Trek, and I might have asked you, and the guy would say, cheese toast, whatever it is, avocado. It just the thing just shows up. Like, is that technology will have access to something like this soon?
Eventually,
Eventually, and it will have high value, not like the printed meat.
yes, the particular technology that would create that sort of system is more moving in the direction of spirit, more in the direction of being able to just manifest. So therefore, it is made out of pure consciousness by nature.
I see. And I can see why the step after this would be to maybe just move to not eating like you have. If you generate your food, you might as well just generate your energy. You don't really need the food anymore.
Well, the idea of free energy, the idea that we exhibit as quasi physical beings, we do not require the idea of food because we are no longer physical in the way that you are. Our
Right.
organs no longer subsist off of food. So, therefore, our digestive system doesn't need it anymore.
Right. And I've noticed myself that I'm able to function pretty well on less sleep. Sometimes I just go to bed later or wake up earlier. And also some days that I don't eat that much, I'm just as good, if not more alert. Is that
It's
in the long
because
run? Yeah.
you are starting to subsist like us.
So we're coming closer to your energy
Yes.
vibration. Right.
Because you are existing at such a high frequency, you do not require to absorb food through your mouth like you wouldn't normally need to. That is how we
Yes.
exist all the time.
Very good. I would like to thank you, Ethan, for a lot of the information you give us, particularly now. I want to mention the health tips regarding water and food and the importance of detoxing and cleanliness of everything that we consume and come into contact with. I want to
Yeah.
thank you for this. We've been able to disseminate the information in various forms.
That is why we are here to do this. The idea that we were actually guiding the channel for quite a while as to what to absorb so we can eventually deliver this information into the experience of these transmissions.
Thank you. I spoke last night. I met a person who lives on a farm, not outside of the city, but not too far. And he brought to my attention a point I never thought of. I said that I mean, you have a farm, that's great. You can have your own cattle, crops, clean water. He says it's not really like that because even if I don't spray the glyphosate on my fields, it's bad enough that the neighbor or two farms over does, and it's all in the water. Is he correct?
Yes, this is why we said to you priorly, unless you grow your food, unless you know 100% that what is happening to that food, what is happening to those things that you grow, whether it's animals or plants, at this time, none of your food is completely safe unless you know 100% what is going into it.
Right, but even if I grow my own food and raise my own cows or whatever,
Yes,
if the neighbor sprays glyphosate, my crops will have some of that, right? My water, my well water will have some of that.
yes.
Yeah.
We would suggest at this time not to worry about it too much. Eventually, this will change.
Yes. Will there be ways and technology to clean the air, the water, and the land
Eventually,
eventually?
eventually, we will give you technology to help you with those things. But
Okay,
until
thank
that time happens, but you, as a culture, as a civilization, you're actually starting to develop the ability to do that on your own. We will just accelerate the idea of these things happening.
thank you. That's
Like
good.
we've said many times, we are not here to be your gods. We are not here to rule you. We are here to help you move into a higher frequency and a higher vibration so you can actually become part of our family, become part of who and what we are.
Understood and appreciated.
Yes.
We spoke before, and I find that topic comes more and more, which I like, is people moving to farms and living together on the land.
Yes.
For example, a friend of mine found some land in Costa Rica and asked me to help him create a farm, which is a, a, agriculture, permaculture center for
Yes.
people to work the land and to do other things, but mainly to work on the land.
Yes. You will start to see this over the next years to come in a much shorter time period than you think. You will start to see this become more and more common. You will see less people on their phones. You will see less people centered around technology and more in the idea of being connected to the land itself.
That's great. Is there any particular thing you would suggest for planning such a farm that people that is also a community?
Allow yourself to have these things naturally show up into your life. If you do them prior to you actually being ready to have these kind of experiences, you will hate it.
Correct.
Allow these natural opportunities to show up in your life so you can take advantage of them when they do show up, but understand that it is okay if you don't want to do these things.
Thank you.
Do not, never, ever, ever remove personal choice from your experiences that you are having in any incarnation or any moment of your life.
Even if that personal choice could be negative to me, like consume too much alcohol or eat too much sugar or whatever.
Use your discernment.
Yeah.
It's simple. If it's not right for you, don't do it.
Right. Ethan, would you like to give us a closing statement for today?
Understand that you carry the vibration of gold. You carry the ability to transform your negative beliefs, your negative aspects of yourself that you do not appreciate. You can alchemize these prior experiences that you have had in the past to be able to actually move forward with who and what you are and be able to expand your awareness by holding on to that particular vibration that is beyond the mere physical experience of life.
Thank you very, very much. It's been a pleasure.
Good day.
Good day.
That was fun.
Good.
It was just
Thank
talk. Like he's so good at that. He just kind of goes.
He just went for it today.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. That so many questions and interaction.
It was good seeing you guys here. Sorry, I was a little bit late. That was I had things that happened today, so
We had a good run.
I'm always glad to see you guys, and we'll have more of these interactions soon.